I'm down here with the beautiful Mark and even more beautiful Jennifer. I have been following this. I didn't get down to the meeting, and it does look like it's completely just welcomed by everybody. This idea that Charlesland would have a neighbourhood watch. I should ask, when did it start? When was the idea kind of formed?
I would suppose about 4 or 5 weeks ago. A lot of stuff started to come up on the local Facebook page where people were concerned about security at night time, strangers wandering around the estate, and it developed from that, where Jennifer had been looking at it and myself, and we said, well, maybe we need to tackle it by coming up with some sort of a solution to the problem. So I suppose that's when it really started to come to a head, is that?
I think once the dark weather comes in, I think people start getting a bit more aware of the fact they feel a bit more vulnerable, and you might have 1 or 2 break-ins, and it really it grows from there. So we did have a lot of people a few months ago come to us and say, is there anything we can do? So because Mark lives in the area, we decided to get together, and we had that meeting then a couple of weeks ago, where we had the local community guard down in, and we had to try see if we can get a neighbourhood watch scheme together. So we probably had maybe 50 people at the meeting, and everyone was really, really enthusiastic about it. So since that meeting then, what we've done, and it's mainly been coordinated by Mark, is each of the streets in Charlesland are going to set up a WhatsApp group for their particular area. So if anyone notices anything, they can just WhatsApp their neighbours to say, look, this has happened, there's an alarm going off, or I've seen a van going around. And just really all it is it's a really quick way that people can communicate with each other in the community.
It seems, I know that I think you've already got nearly 300 members, which was just that sort of wonderful reaction that, as I said, that naturally people were ready for this, that, it's something that makes complete sense. And it also opens up, the sense of neighbours, the sense of being connected, which is beneficial in loads of other ways, but as well as the fighting the crime. Would there be, for those watching this now who would be, especially living down in Charlesland, is there, would the Facebook page be the place to go to find out more? Or where would be the best place to sort of check out how to get involved?
Yeah, look, we have a Charlesland Security Facebook group.
Right.
That they can join and be part of, because there is quite a lot of conversation on that group as well about things that are happening to ensure sort of crime prevention. But I mean, if some people aren't on Facebook, and that's the one thing we're finding, a lot of people aren't on Facebook. So
smart people.
Well, yeah, and people that have too much work to do. But if they are interested, they could contact Mark directly by email as well. I can put your email just above this, so they can get in touch.
Well, what we are encouraging is that we have leaders on each street, and they're making their way around to neighbours, calling to their doors, trying to get their details so they can add them to groups. So we tell people not to be shy. If they're not on a group, get out, knock on doors and find out, because they won't have to go too far to find a neighbour who is on the group, and they can just add them to it.
And Charlesland is one of these places, you realise that there's a lot of people down here, and when people kind of move in, I'm on an estate too, you can kind of sometimes forget that you're part of an entirely kind of like a little village of its own, and I do think that Charlesland kind of deserves that feeling, that the playground, I've come down a few times now, there's a lovely feeling of people just hanging out together, but it's beginning to happen, I think, where you actually feel like you're part of it, and this would be a big step, I think, in that direction.
It is, yeah. It is. It's Charlesland realising that we have to watch out for each other and become more of a community. I suppose part of the theme of this has been sort of, let's start watching them, as opposed to, because we're being maybe preyed on a little bit by these burglars and people like that coming in and wandering around, and they have been left to wander around. So now people are starting to look out for each other and look back, which will hopefully frighten them away.
And I think another really great thing that's come out of all this is actually we've connected the local guards with the community. Right. So Maria, the community guard, is going to hold a coffee morning in Tigernut
on the 29th, isn't it?
On the 29th, the coffee with a cop, and as well as that, she's also, following the meeting we had, she put a report into her superintendent, and the supers asked that there be a lot more patrols of the area, and people in the neighbourhood have actually seen that happen. There's a lot more activity of the guards here, and then another thing, I mean, last night there was a couple of suspicious people going around, and the guards were notified straight away, and they were sort of, I suppose, they left the area, which is a really, really good sign that it's actually starting to work already.
And the funny thing is, of course, they would sort of be connected to others who sort of say, well, that's become an area that's not that easy anymore, and they will have to just watch that, let's go somewhere else, or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
Maybe
it.
just give up.
And like when you think there's, I think 1,500 houses
right,
in this, like, I mean, it's a little town,
yeah,
but like there's so many eyes here, you know.
Yeah.
So if everyone that was, you know, going for a jog in the evening or going for a walk or picking the kids up, just keep an eye out and be aware of what's happening. And if you see anything odd, like anything at all, Maria and the guards said, please ring the guards, because it doesn't matter if it's a false alarm, but they want to know if there's anything odd. And the other thing that Mark he's had an idea, which is I think a great idea, is perhaps getting high-vis vests
right.
for the locals with Neighbourhood Watch or something written on it, so that if you're out walking or jogging, that you can wear these, and if there is criminals around or people sort of scoping,
Sure.
that they can, you know, they'll know that there is people keeping an eye on them, you know. So.
And where do you stand on tasers? I always think tasers are good fun too. If you can catch one of them breaking into your house, maybe just hold on to them for a week, you know.
Yeah,
just
I
the occasional taser.
Can't comment on that, Paul.
Okay,
No.
okay, okay.
Some of the suggestions would make tasers look mild.